Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the number one way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
This podcast is hosted by Buzzsprout. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners. The team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. Join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message to the world. If you want an upgrade, Buzzsprout has tons of guides to help you find exactly what you need. We use Buzzsprout and it's a game changer for us. An all-new analytics system helps us track who's listening to our show and where they're listening to it. If you'd like to use Buzzsprout as well, follow the link in our show notes to buzzsprout.com. And while you're there, let them know that Films and Fermentation sent you. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Films and Fermentation. This is episode 116. That's right. We are Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm Leo.
And I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
We're three friends who like to talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. This episode 116, is titled Break the Fourth Wall Down.
Break the fourth wall down!
On this episode, we bring the bracket back. So we're bringing the bracket back to talk about our favorite fourth wall breaks in movies. A fourth wall break is defined as doing or saying something that either explicitly or implicitly acknowledges the artificiality of the environment and the fact that both the presenters and audience are aware of that and that they are watching or performing in a film. Simply put, it's when the character talks to the audience. So we took some of our favorite instances of that. We put together a little bracket, a Sweet 16, of our favorite comedy fourth wall breaks and drama fourth wall breaks. And we are going to go through those and work our way down to what is going to be our champion fourth wall break. Don't forget, you can drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. Become part of the Films and Fermentation family by supporting us on Patreon or going to teespring.com to buy some merchandise. And we are now on Gematica.com. Gematica.com is like a Yellow Pages for podcasts. They will take the name of your podcast and find ways to work it into search engines. So as people are searching for things, it ups your chances of getting listed on a search. You know, so
Let
it's
the
like
searchers do the
Let
walking.
your fingers do the walking.
let your fingers do the walking.
Let the searchers do the walking.
Let the searchers do the walk. Yes, they are called Gematica.com. It is a free service. At least
We're
for
all
now.
about free.
And they actually gave us a shout out on Twitter earlier because I had posted that we had joined their website, and they said this was on Twitter, spotlighting at Films and Fermentation podcast, which is now featured in the podcast and radio show search engine on Gematica. Check out their show and follow them on Gematica's social media platform. So just, adding our name to other places as much as I can.
I love that arcade game. I always lose early, though.
Hey.
Gematica.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those.
It was
one of those Atari games, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are we drinking tonight, gentlemen? Whoever would like to go first. I don't
I'll
care.
go first.
Go first.
Since today is National IPA Day, I am
Mhm.
drinking a Sessions from Double Nickel, Pensacola, New Jersey, Indian Pale Ale. Thanks to Kevin, I have one.
Mhm.
There we
I
go.
have one of those as well, but I'm not drinking it this evening. Kev, what do you got going on?
Because my dog is holding me hostage, I'm revisiting one of the beers I purchased last week at Farmers and Bankers Brewing in Woodstown. This is the Cal Tippin Milk Stout, 5.6% alcohol by volume. It was delightful last week, and it's going to be delightful tonight.
Speaking of farmers and bankers, I knew there was something else I wanted to talk about tonight. After you told me about your trip there last week, I emailed them.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to them in the email, "Hi, my name's Leo, and I co-host a podcast called Films and Fermentation. My friends and I discuss movies and adult beverages. Recently, my co-host Kevin visited your establishment with his wife and their puppy. He had a great time and enjoyed the selections that you had available on your flights. So we gave your brewery a shout out on our latest episode, which is releasing on Monday, 7/31. Kevin also sampled and reviewed a couple of your products during the program as well. All positive remarks, by the way. If you'd like to hear what we have to say, we're available on Spotify, Apple, Good Pods, etc." And then I gave him the link to the show, and the co-owner, her name's Megan, oddly enough, sent me back, "Thank you so much. We're definitely going to give it a listen. I'm so happy to hear Kevin and his wife enjoyed the brewery and the beers. Thank you for telling your listeners about us."
Nice.
So we got a little what do you call networking going on right there.
Yep.
Nice.
So I am tonight going to talk about two drinks, what I am drinking and what I had the other night, because it was kind of interesting. So I am fucking exhausted. I have been doing summer camp for 2 weeks at my school, something I haven't done before. The kids have way more energy than I do, and driving home has been awful because of short traffic. So I am just like worn out right now. So I am drinking coffee tonight. But as usual, I always like to put a little something extra in my coffee. Normally I do Irish cream, but tonight I decided to go little Java moonshine.
Ooh.
Coffee with some Java moonshine. So I'm breaking the fourth coffee wall.
That's like 16 coffee walls.
So the other night, Katie and I went to Joe's Crab Shack. Joe's Crab Shack, not a sponsor of Films and Fermentation, because I felt bad that she was not able to get the meal that she wanted for her birthday since she was sick. So we went and get some like crab legs and stuff at Joe's, and I had a drink there called the Island Margarita, which when I ordered it, I thought it was like a blue crab margarita kind of, because it had blue carousel in it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it had pineapple in it, which I am not a big fan of. But I drank it anyway because I didn't taste the pineapple. When it came out, it was a very, very dull green color, which I'm guessing was the pineapple juice mixed with the blue curacao.
Yeah.
And it had a very weird, like bitter taste to it, but very, very familiar taste. And I couldn't figure out what it was. So I kept drinking it, and I was like, fuck, I finally figured out what this is. The Island Margarita, Joe's Crab Shack, tastes like Ecto Cooler.
Yeah.
Like an
We saw that
alcoholic
text.
high C Ecto Cooler. Yeah, my wife
Nice.
texted Adrian about it. Yeah, it was like it brought me back to my childhood minus the alcoholism.
There
When
was
your
always
childhood
something
is
missing
adult
in
was
that
alive.
juice box.
Yeah, it's always missing. There would have been a major seller. I want to revisit the NSFW episode that we did a few episodes back. That was the episode where we planted some F words into our favorite PG-13 films, since they're allowed to have one F word in them. Yeah, we did that a while back. It was actually one of our more popular episodes. So Kevin sent me this earlier today. A Reddit user called The Dad at Blockhead Gamer on Reddit posted, "Your favorite kids movie is now rated PG-13 and is allowed a single F-bomb. Where do you put it?" And so the first comment that was posted was from Shrek, and it's "Get out of my fucking swamp." which I thought was pretty good. But there were a few other ones on here that I wanted to just throw out there because I thought they were excellent. So we have from Toy Story, "You are a fucking toy." What are you gonna do today, Napoleon? Whatever I fucking want. Gosh. You're a fucking wizard, Harry. Which I think we actually had on the show. I think we did.
We
Harry
did
Potter.
have that one, yeah.
I love this one. No one drinks like Gaston. No one fucks like Gaston.
No one that takes incredibly long like it's
Like Gaston, I'd be even better. Now you're going into our territory, though. From The Incredibles. Where is my fucking super suit? Are you telling me you built a time machine, Doc? Out of a fucking DeLorean? Somebody put the funeral scene from My Girl on here.
He can't see without his fucking glasses.
He can't see without his fucking glasses. Where's the other one I saw? It was pretty good. It's not a fucking tumor. We don't fucking talk about Bruno.
Hey, what about Sandlot? You're fucking killing me, Smalls.
You play ball like a fucking girl.
Don't try it, Anakin. I have the fucking high ground. Do one more. In honor of Paul Rubens, who just passed away, better known as Pee Wee Herman, we're going to make this one our last one for the revisit of the NSFW episode. I'm a loner, Dottie. A fucking rebel. So today, Mike is, as Mike put on here, today is National IPA Day, and that is why he is drinking an IPA this evening.
IPA is an IPA a lot.
Yes, IP a lot.
What else? First Thursday in August every year, apparently.
So what else happened this week, Mike?
This week in film history, as Leo said, Paul Rubens, a.k.a. Pee Wee Herman, died at age 60 after a long battle with cancer.
Actually, 70. Yeah, I heard those were his last words. He was 70 years old, not 60, and I honestly didn't realize he was that old.
No,
it's odd. Like I thought he was a little younger than that.
Yeah.
But then I saw, like, because a lot of people have been posting stuff since he passed. I saw his first stand-up act in 1980.
Oh wow!
It was at the Young Comedian special in New York, and it was his first time doing stand-up. And like, yeah, he was young, very young there. And he was doing the Pee Wee Herman character basically for the first time. And back then, it was a lot of like prop comedy. You know, you'd pull stuff out of the bag and make jokes about that stuff and all. Kind of like Carrot Top. But then he would go on to superstardom when he starred in his own movie, you know, directed by the up-and-coming director Tim Burton at the time, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And then the Saturday morning cartoon or Saturday morning phenomenon, Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Which Lawrence Fishburne was in.
Yes. And also Phil Hartman was in it as well. He was the captain. Yeah.
Well, Phil Hartman and him worked on the routine, didn't they?
He was. Yeah, he had Pee-wee's Playhouse originally was a stage play. Was an adult stage play. It was staged as a children's show, but all the jokes and like themes and all were adult oriented. And Phil Hartman was in the stage play with Paul Rubens and some of the other actors. When they did the TV show, that's when Lawrence Fishburne was added as Cowboy Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching the Pee-wee Christmas special, where Cowboy Curtis does a duet with Charo. And Grace Jones comes out and sings possibly the scariest version of Little Drummer Boy I've ever heard in my life. What else happened this week, Mike?
In 1967, In the Heat of the Night, directed by Norman Jewison, based on John Ball's novel of the same name, starring Sidney Poitier and Ron Stinger,
Rod Steiger.
premieres in New York.
Rod Steiger.
Steiger, sorry. I need to bring the font up a little bit. In New York, Academy Award Best Picture in 1968.
It's funny. I just heard Norman Jewison's name on another podcast recently because they were talking about his filmography. And it's like the guy did In the Heat of the Night, which is possibly one of the most famous, like, crime thriller movies of all time.
They call me Mr.
Tibbs. But then you look at some of the other movies on his IMDb, and it's really crazy. Like he does In the Heat of the Night, probably his first like major hit. And then he does the Thomas Crown Affair, the original one from 1968. Then he directs Fiddler on the Roof, much different movie from Heat of the Night. Then he does Jesus Christ Superstar in 1973, which is fucking trippy. Then he does a Sylvester Stallone movie called Fist. Then he directs And Justice for All, which stars Al Pacino, which was my Films and Fermentation Friday feature last week. I had just rewatched it for the first time in like decades, and it is probably one of Pacino's best performances. He plays a lawyer who's, tired of the corruption in the system. And then he does Moonstruck, Only You. Then he directs The Hurricane in 1999 with Denzel Washington.
Wow.
I mean, that is a crazy movie career.
It's not as well known as you think you would be with those kind of movies.
Yeah, and it's because he's also like, he doesn't have like a style. It's like, most directors, you can tell like there's certain things about the movies. Like, for instance,
like
I meant to ask this earlier and just remind me of it. Kevin saw Oppenheimer. What is your review? Is it worth the effort to sit through 3 hours?
Yes. We saw Oppenheimer not 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago, I guess. It was great. It was very. Huh?
Did you see Barbie too?
I was waiting for that to come on afterwards. I thought we had got the Barbenheimer or the Oppenbarbie special. There are times where it will literally take the breath right out of you.
Okay.
He uses sound and like the visuals like you wouldn't believe. That's always kind
of been his thing. So
right. Look, I knew of Oppenheimer just in like history books, to say he was the father of the atomic bomb. This brings a whole new insight. Yeah. Brings all new insight as to, why he was discredited, his contributions. I left there and I said to Megan, he reminds me of Neil deGrasse Tyson, where he is like the pop star of science, it's how he's out there, but yeah, no, I would say it's definitely a very mature movie, and it can definitely fly over people's heads, but it was really good. It was really good. Is
it more understandable than Tenet?
Never seen Tenet. I need to.
Don't worry, it's definitely.
This might be a spoiler alert, but question: do they drop the bomb?
Yeah, they do it twice, actually.
I like you said, like all I really know Oppenheimer from is from the history books and from things I've seen in like documentaries and stuff. Like nothing like too much personal about it. I mean, I know the whole "I am become death, the destroyer of worlds" speech and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this to see like Nolan's take on it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
He based the movie on, there's a book called The American Prometheus.
American Prometheus, yeah.
That he based a lot of this movie on. That book is like 3,000 pages.
Holy shit.
So it's like a tomb.
It's
So
a
I'm curious.
Gore Vidal. What? No,
Yeah.
it's not written by Gore Vidal,
Not
but
a
I'm saying
Gorbachev, but it's that
it's
kind of
Gore
style.
Vidal quality. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious to
detail.
see like what the movie's like.
George R. Martin.
I heard there's a sex scene with Florence Pugh, so I was kind of already in for it then.
Yes,
Ooh.
yes, there is, and it's yes. What was I going to say? Oh, you know who kind of like? I mean, I don't want to say he came out of left field. He's a fantastic actor to begin with. Just I'm not used to him playing this kind of role.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah,
that's what I heard. I heard he is, like their all talks are he's like a front runner for winning the Oscar this year for supporting actor because of this performance.
Yeah,
I heard his name mentioned for Oscars and Emily Blunt's name for supporting actress, playing Kitty Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely want to check it out. When I can. Just gotta find 3 hours that I could put aside.
And I would recommend you see it in IMAX if you can. I know
that's what I heard. Yeah, a lot of the IMAX theaters have been sold out.
Yeah, we
prior.
saw ours on a Tuesday night, Tuesday at 6:30, and we found seats, but it was like filling quickly.
Wow.
But there's one right around the corner from us, so
yeah, I have to check it out. So, Mike, what's the third thing you got there?
In 1973, American Graffiti, directed by George Lucas and starring Richard Dreyfuss and Ron Howard, premieres at the Locarno International Film Festival in Switzerland.
That's very odd that American Graffiti premiered in Switzerland.
So this is what America is like over there?
Yeah.
Funny!
Is this what we have to go to?
What's the last one you got there?
In 1999, The Sixth Sense, starring Bruce Willis, Toni Collette, and Haley Joel Osment, premiered.
Yes. We've talked about this before on our twist ending episode. I think we even used this in the NSFW episode a couple times. Like I see fucking ghosts. So yeah, definitely a classic from the 90s. Yeah.
I'm
Mike,
connecting two things. Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to connect two fun facts that Mike has shared. We obviously know that Paul Rubens died, who was Pee Wee Herman. He had a actress who was Miss Yvette on the show. Her name was Lynn Marie Stewart, and she also starred in American Graffiti.
Oh wow!
See that?
There you go.
All connected.
I was thinking of this. I think when he got in trouble for the indecent exposure in the porno theater, and and jokes were being made at his expense left and right, and he was a little sullied and they kind of lost his show and all that stuff. He hosted the MTV Music Awards that the year after, and people were like, "Oh, we can't wait to see how he handles the situation. Let's see what happens. Like, are people going to boo him when he comes out?" And he wins the night over when he comes out on stage, and the first thing he says to the audience is, "Heard any good jokes lately?" and that was sort of like his like not really comeback, but saved a little grace for him. So, Mike, do you have any must-try beer or craft destinations for us?
I got a must-try beer. I have the Jumbie IPA from Mason Ale Works, Santa Monica, California. Styled as a West Coast IPA from the heart of that style's San Diego origins, this medium orange, slightly hazy 6.7% ABV brew packs Amarillo, Mosaic, and citrus hops, but throws a nice light caramel malt note into the aroma. The flavors are surprisingly mellow, with a sturdy malt core balancing the lemon peel, grapefruit, orange, and background pine shenanigans. Slightly dry, perhaps from a sugar addition, with a savory hop note past mid-palate. Jumbie has a dry to bitter balance that's not aggressive. San Diego definitely knows its IPAs.
The Jumbie IPA. Wasn't Jumbie the name of the genie on the Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse?
Yes, it's all connected.
It's all connected. Jumbie.
Mecca like a high, make a hiney hole.
I was gonna say, I'll give you double secret bonus points if you can tell me the words that got you your wish.
Mecca like a high, make a shiny hole.
Like the shiny hole.
The shiny hiney hole.
Today's secret word is alcohol. Every time somebody says the word alcohol, we all scream.
Cornholio. Oh, sorry.
It's time for my favorite segment, Synopsis According to Glip. Synopsis According to Glip, brought to you by Newsly.me. Newsly.me is an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android that reads the news to you in a natural human voice. Stop scrolling, start listening. Go to Newsly.me today and enter the promo code NFerment to get your first month premium subscription for free. Glip, of course, for those of you who might be new to the show, is the program we use to record our podcast, which gives us a synopsis every week after the podcast has downloaded. Sometimes it's fairly accurate. Sometimes it's totally off the wall. Usually it's pretty hilarious. This one is a pretty good one, I thought. So last week was our documentary episode, which I finally came up with a name for the episode right before it launched. I decided to name it What's Up Documentary.
I like it.
So that was our documentary episode. This is what Glip had to say was the focus of the episode. The discussion focused on pricing plans for the podcast, the burning of California, archive footage of Graham Chapman, pleasures of the series, taglines of the documentary, dark sides of the ring. Leo told the story of the best builder in the family and the trap they made for their baby brother. Kevman and Leo discussed the pooping and the middle school kids. Kevman and Mike are discussing tight uniforms and the Riker Musk.
I'm missing a lot of this. I didn't think I drank that much.
I thought Leo said about the tight uniforms and the Riker Musk.
I don't know. It's, so the discussion focused on pricing. The pricing plan thing was I was talking about how Glip might be going from free to subscription or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. I don't remember what the burning of California is.
We were talking about the smoker thing, I think, again.
Oh, but I thought we blamed that on Jackson in Canada.
I think we were blaming that on Jackson, yeah, but I think somebody said that. Well, we didn't talk about California. It's always burning.
Oh, okay.
No, we were talking. That's what I said. California's been burning since ever.
Okay. Archive footage of Graham Chapman was when you were talking about the Monty Python live show.
Right.
Yes.
I don't know what pleasures of the series are. That sounds like something.
Of the series.
That almost sounds like something we were talking about, like off air or something. Tagline of the documentary, that could have been any of the ones we talked about. Dark Side of the Ring was one of Mike's documentaries. The best builder in the family and the trap they made for their baby brother and the pooping all have to do with the same kid that I was talking about from my summer camp. The middle school kids. And then the tight uniforms and the Riker Musk, of course, was a continuation of the Star Trek discussion from the previous week.
Yes.
That is your synopsis, according to Glip. We're going to take a short break and play a couple messages for you. And when we come back from that break, we will be giving you our main segment, the best fourth wall breaks. It's a bracket episode, so we're going to be doing some voting on what's going to go on to the next round. We'll have some fun with this, so we'll be back with you in a little in a minute or two.
Hey movie lovers, it's Jackson here from the Back to the Blockbuster podcast. If you've ever wanted to hear an amateur cinephile and an industry professional chat about film and television, then look no further, because every week my co-host Gaius and I, we bring you the latest industry news, break down the most recent trailers, try to beat the box office with our weekly predictions, and dive into our favorite movies on their anniversaries. And every second Friday, you can look forward to the Back to the Blockbuster spin-off, Deep Dives with Owen and Gaius, where the duo dissects a movie of their own choice. All this and more wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, Spooklings.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Kathy.
And we're the hosts of the weekly podcast, All Hallows Eve Podcast.
We are a husband and wife duo with a passion for anything spooky, macabre, and true crime, sprinkled with our own twist of comedy.
We explore topics such as the history of Halloween, the Butcher of Plainfield, Hocus Pocus 2, urban legends, superstitions, and more.
So come join us as we go down the rabbit hole that is All Hallows Eve Podcast.
Listen and follow us at allhallowsevepodcast.com or your favorite podcast provider.
Stay spooky, my friends.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Deb.
And we host a pretty fun podcast called Today We Laughed and Learned. You know, this is where we discuss all the things we should have learned, but, well, never did. And we have quite a few laughs along the way.
Today we laughed and learned with Chris and Deb.
We're curious about everything, experts on nothing.
Come find us wherever you get your podcasts.
We are back from our little mini break, and we are going to break the fourth wall down now as we go to the bracket in order to talk about some movies that have fun breaking the fourth wall. Now, we are not talking about television. There are no TV shows on this bracket. It's only movies.
It's Bugs Bunny would win.
Yeah, I tried to limit the number of movies from certain people, although I couldn't help myself with Mel Brooks, so he has his own seating on the bracket. And then there were a few that I couldn't find a way to fit on there, so they're going to get a little just missing the bracket shout out at the end. But I thought it was the fairest way to do it was to separate the bracket by comedies and dramas. So the West Coast is the comedy side of the bracket. East Coast is the drama side of the bracket. And these are currently the teams that we are looking at. First seed in the comedies, Ferris Bueller. Second seed, Deadpool. Third seed, Annie Hall. Fourth seed, The Rocky Horror Picture Show. Fifth seed, Wayne's World. Sixth seed, Holy Grail. Seventh seed, Mel Brooks movies, because I couldn't choose just one. And the final seed is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Is that what it says?
Yes, that's what that says. I'm sorry, it's very small. I couldn't. That's the only way I was able to fit it on the line. On the drama side, we have first seed is Goodfellas, second seed is Wolf of Wall Street, third seed is Psycho, fourth seed is Sunset Boulevard, fifth seed is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, sixth seed is High Fidelity, seventh seed American Psycho, and eighth seed a new release Barbie, which has a little fourth wall break in it that I will tell you guys about. I don't expect it to win because none of us have seen it, but I think it's a pretty funny fourth wall break that I read about online. So.
Breaking the fourth wall because she goes from toy to real world.
Kind of, in a way, but there's a particular moment where the fourth wall is broken by the narrator of the film. So I'm going to share the bracket so our YouTube people can see. If you are not listening to us on any sort of podcast app, we are also on YouTube. You can see our handsome faces if you'd like.
Kevin brings some pretty.
So where should we start? Should we start on the comedy side or the drama side?
Let's start comedy.
Let's start comedy. So we got to give a few examples, I guess, in order to show why these are fourth wall breaking films. So first seed of the first round is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Of course, the entire movie is a fourth wall break because Ferris is narrating film and talking to the audience throughout. We have some classic lines like life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop to look around once in a while, you're going to miss it. Or the opening scene where he teaches you how to fake sickness in order to stay home from school. Yeah, I mean, there's
licking your hands is kind of childish, but then again, so is high school.
Why do I need to know about European socialism? I'm not European. I'm not a socialist. Yeah, it's just, I mean, Ferris Bueller. How can you argue that? Wayne's World. I love Wayne's World. I think it's funny. A pretty funny movie. I don't think it's as good as Ferris Bueller. It does have some good fourth wall break scenes in it because Wayne and Garth will often stop to talk to the audience. There's a funny breakaway fourth wall scene where they're introducing the owner of the donut shop, played by Ed O'Neill, and all of a sudden the camera starts focusing on him, and he goes into this fourth wall monologue about dead bodies in Vietnam. And then Mike Myers cuts in and he's like, "Wait, the movie's about us."
Doesn't why can't I think of his name now? Oh, the villain in Wayne's World. Oh, he was on Westworld or West Wing.
It was Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe. He also breaks the fourth wall in there, doesn't he?
He breaks the fourth wall. I love the scene where he's talking to him about getting advertisers on the show, and they're like, "We don't pander to advertisers," but then
and that is a whole fourth wall break.
That is a whole fourth wall break where they're holding up like the Little Caesars pizza and the Nuprin aspirin and all that stuff. So Wayne's World versus Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Mike, who do you vote for?
Bueller. Bueller.
Kevin?
Bueller.
I really should give it to Wayne's World because it's not just Wayne breaking the wall, and it really pokes fun. It's beyond narration. It is poking fun at, you're watching a movie, you're here watching the movie, everybody knows it's the movie going on. I'm gonna go Wayne's World. I mean, I love Ferris Bueller. But yeah, Wayne's World.
Well, I'm voting for Ferris, so it's moving on anyway.
I figured I wasn't being contrary to be contrary.
No, I understand. Like I like your reasoning for it. It's more than just one character.
Right.
But I feel like Ferris Bueller is just so well known for, the style, the story style, Second seed. Should we go to the first seed on the drama side or move on to the second seed?
Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do drama.
We'll go back and forth. Okay. First seed on drama is Goodfellas versus the fifth seed, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Are either of you familiar with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?
I am not.
Just from what I looked up on it, I haven't watched it. I know it's Robert Downey and Val Kilmer, but I have never watched it to give an honest opinion.
So we were just talking about Robert Downey Jr. and his acting abilities, and how we all know he's a great actor, but you don't get to see it too often. This is a good movie to check out if you want to see his acting skill. After being mistaken for an actor, a New York thief is sent to Hollywood to train under a private eye for a potential movie role, but the duo are thrown together with a struggling actress into a murder mystery. Val Kilmer is the guy that he's training with. Robert Downey Jr. is the thief mistakenly taken for an actor, and he narrates the film in fourth wall breaks. He actually opens the movie by pretty much breaking the fourth wall, sort of like a la Ferris Bueller. It's written by Shane Black, who wrote Predator and also wrote The Nice Guys, one of my favorite movies. So that's that kind of style that he has, which is like action and comedy kind of blended together. It's a good movie. But of course, it is going up against Goodfellas. Which
the narration of Henry Hill.
It's the narration of Henry Hill, which also ends with him in the court scene. He gets up from the witness stand and just starts walking towards the camera and talking about ending up in witness protection and all that stuff. So I mean, that is about as fourth wall as you can get.
Yep.
So I know my vote.
I gotta go Goodfellas only because it's what I've seen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Honestly, even if you saw Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, it's a good movie, but I still don't think it beats Goodfellas either way. Deadpool, I put 1 and 2 together since they basically follow the same, fourth wall break premise, versus Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So the main portion of fourth wall breaking in Monty Python comes at the end when they get arrested. And the fact that there's police investigating throughout the film.
Where they're arguing with the narrator about the coconuts and the swallow.
You could even say like some of those cartoon segments that pop in and out are sort of like breaking the fourth wall a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's and it's a comedy classic, of course. But then Deadpool has possibly my favorite fourth wall line of all time. Fourth wall break inside of a fourth wall break. That's like 16 walls, which I think is probably one of the most brilliant fourth wall breaking jokes of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
And
even know if
very
that
true to
works
the
out.
comic book.
It is very true to the comic book because he is a character who knows that he is fictional,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
and kind of takes advantage of that throughout.
One
I like
of
the
very
beginning
few
too.
comic cartoon or the superheroes that do the fourth wall break. I think
Mhm.
She-Hulk also does it.
She-Hulk and Deadpool are basically like the two that I know about the most.
Yeah.
Like I love the beginning of the first film where he's like, my boyfriend took me to this film. He told me it was a romantic comedy, but he's got that guy fucking speared like a shish kebab. As much as I love Holy Grail, I think I have to go with Deadpool on this one.
I gotta go with Deadpool.
I
too.
have to go with you as well. Yeah, as much as I love Holy Grail.
Yeah. Number 3, we have Woody Allen's Annie Hall versus all Mel Brooks films.
Nope. We're going back to the other side.
Oh, we're going back
Other
to the other side. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Second seed on the drama side, Wolf of Wall Street versus the 6th seed, High Fidelity. Wolf of Wall Street is that sort of Martin Scorsese style of storytelling where, it's kind of like Henry Hill. He's narrating the entire story himself, stops to talk to the camera multiple times throughout the film. It's pretty hilarious narration most of the time. The shit that he gets into is just fucked up. Like, I mean, it's some fucked up stuff. Versus High Fidelity,
John Cusack,
which is a John Cusack film. It's your typical John Cusack character, a lovelorn guy who's, brooding a lot. So he's a record store owner and a compulsive list maker, and he recounts throughout the film his top 5 breakups, including the one that is currently happening, and he stops to talk to the audience throughout the entire film about it.
Doesn't he also rehash or go back to his previous girlfriends to kind of figure out, is he in the wrong? Is he in the right? What's going on?
I think that's how it ends. I think he finally kind of grows up a little bit at the end and decides to figure out where he was wrong in the relationships.
Right.
I like this movie. I think it's one of John Cusack's best performances.
Yeah. Same here.
The entertaining film. I don't think it beats Wolf of Wall Street. But I do enjoy it.
I think it beats Wolf of Wall Street.
I was going to go with High Fidelity too. Yeah.
You're going with High Fidelity?
I am.
Yeah, so am I.
Oh, wow. High Fidelity beats Wolf of Wall Street. I did not see that one coming. All right. So that takes us to 3rd seed on the comedy side, Annie Hall versus Mel Brooks. The 4th wall is broken in so many Mel Brooks films that I just couldn't settle on one particular one. So you have Spaceballs with the whole
the I'm in now. Are you? Yeah. Where are we?
When will now be then?
When will then be now? Soon.
Or when he rolls up they look at the VHS tapes and they're all like Mel Brooks films.
Yeah.
The best one I think is Blazing Saddles. Woof. Dib dog do we are.
I was gonna say Blazing Saddles the very end when they get into the fight on the sound studio.
Yeah.
Or Young Frankenstein, where he's like, "Damn your eyes," and Marty Feldman turns to the camera and goes, "Too late."
Too late.
Or Peter Boyle as the monster at the end when Madeline Kahn comes out of the bathroom with the Bride of Frankenstein hairdo and does her little sexy dance, and he looks at the camera and he goes. So yeah, I feel like there's just way too many Mel Brooks movies to single down to one, which kind of puts Annie Hall at unfair advantage.
Yeah, unfair disadvantage, don't you mean?
Unfair disadvantage, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really a huge Woody Allen fan.
No,
but Annie Hall's a decent enough movie. It just does not top any Mel Brooks movies I can think of. Yeah.
I think also, a lot of people would be angry at me for putting Woody Allen on the list, given some recent shit that's come out lately. So I'm okay with eliminating him. So Mel Brooks makes it to the next round. That takes us to 3rd seed on the drama side, Psycho versus 7th seed, American Psycho. Yes, I did that on purpose.
I know you did. I can tell.
Psycho has the great scene at the end where he's staring at the camera. You hear the voice of the mother because he's kind of taken over that persona the whole time, and he's laughing at the screen. And I'm not even going to harm this fly. The skull pops up, when the light flickers. Whereas American Psycho is another narrated film starring Christian Bale as a yuppie 80s businessman who gets a thrill out of killing people. Although you're not quite sure whether or not he's actually doing it or if it's all, some fever dream because he's, kind of delusional. So yeah.
He's very clean about it too.
Really loves Huey Lewis.
Yeah.
I'm going to vote American Psycho because there's more fourth wall breaking in it than in Psycho.
Yeah, I think that's where I'd go too.
I was actually going to go American Psycho as well. I love Psycho.
So do I.
But when I think of Psycho, I don't think so much of that scene first.
No.
As great as that ending scene is, American Psycho. Yeah, I think the shower scene, or I think the guy falling down the steps.
Yep.
And that great tracking shot that they do. Or the big reveal at the end when they find the mother's body. I think that more. Whereas American Psycho is, it's a lot more the character telling you the story.
Right.
That brings us to 4th seed Rocky Horror Picture Show versus 8th seed Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back in the comedy bracket.
I'm just a hot transvestite.
Transsexual Transylvania. Come on up to my lab and see what I got on the slab. I see you quiver with anticipation. So does that though beat Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back? Has a number
where
of
it's really the movie is the movie that they're making. I mean, it's just meta.
It's meta. There's also that great scene where Affleck and Damon are filming Good Will Hunting 2 hunting season. And they both look at the camera to show that it's like kind of tongue in cheek.
I don't care.
I told you got to do a reindeer game if you want to do it.
Gus Van Sant's just sitting there counting his money.
Counting his money.
Yeah, I don't care.
I'm like Katie. I love Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I do too. I think Rocky Horror probably wins this round. I would say. I love Kevin Smith.
Jay and Silent Bob, but
I think Rocky Horror. Yeah. So let's put Rocky in there. Rocky Horror.
There's the man with no neck. Where's his fucking neck?
You can even say it's like fourth wall breaking in that sense that you have so many people who like to go watch the movie and interact with it.
Yes.
All right. So that brings us to round 2 in the comedy
Yeah,
bracket.
missed one.
Oh, I'm sorry. We forgot the last one. The last one of the drama bracket is 4th seed Sunset Boulevard, 8th seed Barbie. So Sunset Boulevard has
we already put Sunset Boulevard ahead of it because none of us have seen Barbie.
So Sunset Boulevard has that famous scene at the end where she's like, "I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille," and she starts walking towards the camera, staring at the audience's soul.
Well, doesn't the whole thing start off with the narration too?
Yeah, it starts off with narration. It's the dead guy
wondering how I got
audience.
up here.
Yeah. Barbie has a scene. The narrator in the film is Helen Mirren. And there's a scene where Barbie, after kind of realizing who she is and having this existential crisis, is like, "I'm not pretty anymore." And the narrator says, "Note to the writers of this movie, if you want to get your point across about beauty, don't hire Margot Robbie." Which is, I thought, an excellent fourth wall break. But no, I think you got to give it to Sunset Boulevard just because it's a classic. And we have yet to see Barbie. For anybody listening out there, if you have any disagreements with our bracket, please note we're not fucking experts. We're just 3 guys who've been drinking all night talking about movies. I'm just throwing out there the ones that we like. So that brings us to round 2. So the second round of the comedy bracket has number 1 seed Ferris Bueller facing off against number 2 seed Deadpool. Wait, shouldn't I change this? Shouldn't it be like the first seed versus the lowest seed?
It should be.
It should be. So that would be Ferris Bueller then versus Mel
Rocky
Brooks.
Mel
Or
Brooks.
Rocky Horror. No, Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks.
Yeah. And then
Deadpool
it
versus.
would be Deadpool versus Rocky Horror.
Yep.
All right. And then on the other side, it's Goodfellas versus High Fidelity. That works out.
Yeah.
Or no, it would be American Psycho. So it'd be Goodfellas versus American Psycho and High Fidelity versus Sunset Boulevard. All right. Ferris Bueller versus Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks versus John Hughes.
Mm.
Again, Ferris is not a
To quote Booker
Just
T,
very-
like Shucky Ducky Quack Quack.
wow. That had to hurt. That really had to hurt you, didn't it?
Well, you got enough moonshine, didn't you?
Get Booker T off my fucking
Yeah, my
podcast.
fucking podcast. God, I love Mel Brooks, but I'm going Ferris Bueller. I just think Ferris Bueller is the quintessential fourth wall breaking movie.
I agree. That's where I'm going.
So you're going Ferris. So Mike, you can
Ferris.
take Mel Brooks if you want,
I'll take Mel Brooks.
but Ferris is going to the last round anyway. Goodfellas versus American Psycho.
Goodfellas.
I'm Goodfellas all the way on that one.
Goodfellas. I mean,
So-
it's closer than what you guys are saying, but yeah.
I think it's closer, but I think if I'm going to call Ferris Bueller the quintessential fourth wall breaking comedy, Goodfellas to me is the quintessential fourth wall breaking drama.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Deadpool versus the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Deadpool.
I'm going Deadpool. I can't not go Deadpool. So Mike, you got your wish. Deadpool versus Ferris Bueller in the final round of the comedy bracket. And now we have High Fidelity versus Sunset Boulevard.
High Fidelity.
I'm going High
High
Fidelity.
Fidelity.
I think Sunset Boulevard's a classic, but I think High Fidelity.
Has more.
I don't think it would be the movie it is if it wasn't for the fourth wall breaking. So
Mm-hmm.
High Fidelity making way farther than I thought it would in this bracket. So that brings us to the semifinals here. So on the comedy side, we have the 1 seed Ferris Bueller's Day Off versus 2 seed Deadpool, and the 1 seed Goodfellas versus the
Cinderella
6 seed
Story.
Cinderella Story, the Gonzaga of this tournament, High Fidelity, which means they're going to choke in
even
the
a
semifinal
college.
round. So all Gonzaga fans out there, fuck you, they choke. Let's see here. So Ferris Bueller's Day Off versus Deadpool. God damn it.
I'm going to give you my reasoning for Deadpool
Give me the reason
because
for
his
Deadpool.
whole character is based on the fourth wall break.
Mhm.
There would be no Deadpool without a fourth wall break.
I
That's
would
what he's
agree with
based on.
Mike. I kind of would need to see another Ferris movie to know whether or not that was a one-day thing that was, the sickness in him getting the better of him, or whether or not, that's just who he is, constantly talking to the viewer.
I'll
So
tell
I'm
you,
going to go Deadpool.
it hurts my feelings to have to vote against John Hughes, but I'm going to vote for Deadpool for one reason only. Not only does he break the fourth wall, but remember, in the after credits sequence of Deadpool 1,
He does.
he does the Ferris Bueller Day Off.
He
Why are you
does.
still here? The movie's over. And for that reason alone, I'm giving it to Deadpool.
And it may come back, and I'm not going to let you know when and if who's going to be in it. Cable.
And then that brings us to Goodfellas versus High Fidelity.
This is tough.
Um,
I think I'm going to go High Fidelity.
I'm going Goodfellas because it's against my nature not to.
That leaves it up
Leaves
to
it
me.
up to you,
Wow.
the man from North Carolina.
You're not going to believe this, but I'm going to agree with Kevin. High Fidelity.
Fuck both of you.
Well, it almost never happens. Me and Kevin agreeing on shit.
No.
So the underdog story, High Fidelity. You proved my Gonzaga theory wrong. It's more like Villanova now, just coming out of nowhere. So we come to the final round here. High Fidelity, the sixth seed on the drama side, versus second seed on the comedy side, Deadpool. Both of you can go find another fucking podcast to co-host if you pick against Deadpool in the final round.
Okay. I'm going to pick.
This is for you, John.
I'm picking Deadpool.
The
Just
field.
Well, I'm picking the
The
field.
field.
That's the field.
The field wins. The field wins.
I'm picking Deadpool based on Mike's
Yes.
explanation from the previous round that the movie, the character is all about the fourth wall break.
Yes. From the comics to the movie, it's all throughout. But yes, that's why I would choose Deadpool.
Our winner then in the 16-team single elimination tournament, from the comedy side, the second seed, Deadpool, takes the championship. Are we all in agreement on that? I think we are, right?
Oh, definitely. Yes.
I am actually pleasantly surprised that High Fidelity went that far in the voting. I actually want to watch that again now because it is a really good movie, and I haven't seen it in a while. So I had a few that just missed the bracket in my estimation. One was Scream. It's not a very overtly fourth wall breaking scene, but the character who knows everything about horror films, played by what's his name, Jamie, what's his face?
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
It's not Jamie King. No,
Jamie King's an actress.
That's right.
I'm gonna look up Scream now because I know he's a comedian. So the original Scream, not the one from last fucking year. Jesus Christ! Why are all the movies called Scream with no numbers?
Because they're just
Scream again.
Scream again.
Scream louder.
Scream louder. I know how you screamed last summer.
Jamie. I know how you screamed last night. Oh,
Jamie Kennedy.
Jamie Kennedy. Yes,
so
and he did have a TV show.
Yeah, he's watching the TV and he's talking about all the horror movie tropes as he's getting murdered, which kind of is a slightly fourth wall break. Stranger Than Fiction, Kev, you and I had this discussion last week. Does this count as fourth wall breaking? And I really struggled with it because I wasn't sure. It kind of does.
It's tough because it's breaking a fourth wall, but it's still within the universe within the movie. It's not our universe. Right?
Yeah, and it's
it's a third wall break.
It's I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like a fifth wall break. Because they're breaking a fourth wall within the film that's not existed. It's so hard to explain. But I kind of felt like that was what it was. It was too confusing for me to put on the bracket. The Emperor's New Groove, one of my favorite underrated Disney films. He narrates the film Cusco, played by David Spade, but there are a couple scenes where he actually stops and talks directly to the audience.
I've never seen that one.
You ever seen that? Emperor's New Groove? I love Emperor's New Groove. It's
wow.
I mean, it's definitely on Disney Plus.
I think I was waiting for it to come out on DVD.
Well, it's been out on DVD for a while now. So.
All right.
It's actually on.
It's a good one. I think you'd actually like it. It's not a musical. It's not a musical. It's just a straight animated film, and it's pretty funny.
It took me a while to actually watch it because I'm not a huge David Spade fan.
No, neither am I.
But he's playing a cartoon character, so I can kind of deal with it a little bit.
He's a llama the whole freaking movie.
Yeah, so essentially, what he's playing in the movie, he should be in real life because he feels like he should be a cartoon character in real life.
He's kind of basically playing himself, but it's a Disney film, so it's like a watered down, less annoying version of himself. You got John Goodman's plays a role in it. He's great in the voice acting roles. Kronk is played by Patrick Warburton, who's really funny in the film, and Eartha Kitt plays the villain. So it's a good movie. I like it. And then the last one I put on here, I thought of this one way too late, and I almost took Barbie off the list to put this one on because it's also a Margot Robbie fourth wall break. So the film The Big Short, which stars Christian Bale and a slew of other actors, Steve Carell, a bunch of people, Ryan Gosling. It's a movie about the housing crisis of 2008, which in and of itself doesn't sound that interesting, but the movie is actually pretty fast-paced and really entertaining and pretty funny, too. But there's a great fourth wall break scene where the character is talking about some like complicated like real estate housing term, and he's like, you guys really don't care what I'm talking about right now, so I'm going to make it easier for you to understand. It's going to be explained by Margot Robbie in a tub. And then they cut away to Margot Robbie sitting in a bubble bath with a glass of champagne, and she's explaining this complicated real estate term to you. And it's a great wall break scene. I love it.
So
you know what? When you put that up, I had to do a double take.
What's that, Kev?
When you put that up, when you mentioned that, I was like, wait a second, is it the same movie? And it's not. I'm thinking of the movie Big Trouble, which came out way long ago.
Oh, is that that's
Tim
Julia
Allen,
Roberts?
Renee Russo. No, not Nothing But Trouble.
Oh, that's Nothing But Trouble. Big Trouble was Tim Allen.
Big Trouble is Tim Allen, Renee Russo, Stanley Tucci. Wasn't that one also fourth wall break because of the narration?
I couldn't tell you because I haven't seen that movie probably since it came out.
Okay.
It was not a great film, so I didn't like.
No.
It didn't go into my rewatching rotation. Although Big Short, as much as I like the film and I've seen it a few times, it's really the Margot Robbie fourth wall break scene is the only one I kind of watch regularly. So Mike, do you have any beer trivia or beer history for us this evening?
There's a beer history. The Greeks learned to brew beer from the Egyptians, though several accounts confirm that both the Romans and Greeks consider beer a drink only worthy of barbarians.
Hoo-ha. Let me let out my barbaric yelp. I am okay with my coffee and Java Moonshine. It was actually a nice blend of flavors, and helped me get through the episode a little bit because I was fucking tired. Kev, how was your Farmers and Bankers?
Good. Farmers and Bankers, Cal Tippin Milk Stout. Milk Stout, really good. I usually like the darker beers in the cooler weather, but this holds up. This is good.
And Mike, you had the Session IPA. What'd you think?
It was okay. I mean, it's an IPA. I'm not a huge IPA fan, so
I'm not a huge IPA. Yeah, I'm not a huge IPA fan either. But the Session IPA is one I can tolerate.
I finished it. I finished it, so
I trust. Like if Kevin's given it to me to try out, I assume it's not that bad.
Right.
I know what you guys like.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us for episode 116, breaking that fourth wall down. Just to recap, Deadpool has won the tournament because of those 16 walls that he broke. We hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Don't forget to shoot us an email at filmsoffermentation@gmail.com or visit one of our social media links. You can go to linktree.com to find all those things. Linktree.com/filmsoffermentation. We have links to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, you name it. We are there. We are also, once again, as I said, on Gematica.com, where you can find our podcast as well. Become part of our family by buying some merchandise at the Films and Fermentation storefront at teespring.com or supporting us on Patreon so we can help Kevin buy some new equipment.
Thank you.
Don't forget to stop by the crossroads between pickled and fermented next time for episode 117. This is going to be our 6th season finale. We're going to do one more episode, and we're going to take a short break and then come back with our 7th season. But our 6th season finale, we're going to do something a little lighthearted. We're going to talk about Pixar films, and we are going to be choosing our favorites from the catalog of Pixar films that exist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Thanks for joining us again, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh. That's what you get when you let your heart win.
break the fourth wall down.
Yeah, I thought you would appreciate that title.
Actually, so
I still like when you told me the story when you told the person about what kind of dog it was, and they were like, "Oh."
mhm.
Now, what was Molly's certificate for? Biggest ears.
Yeah, biggest ears. Little dog bat hybrid.
Yeah. Oops, all ears, Molly.
Oops, all ears.
On Instagram.
Do you want to see that movie, The Last Voyage of the Demeter? Is it the Demeter?
I don't know. It looks like CGI trash.
Yeah. What I thought I'd like, and I mean, I'll watch it if it comes on cable. I don't think I'm going to go to theater. But what I think I like is you're taking one part of a story and you're explaining what happened on that journey,
Mhm.
And I think that's the appeal for me. It's like, going into the details of what happened on the journey.
And you're talking about also like it's an original story because there is no.
No, I mean, yeah, when
Like-
they
And that's sometimes where it goes wrong.
yes, true.
When they try to create the original story.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland.